Sargon of Akkad, around 2334 to 2279 BC, built one of the first real empires in all of human history. His empire spanned much of what we know now as Iraq, Syria, Turkey, Iran, and even part of Lebanon. To help visualize this, imagine him controlling an area that today stretches from Baghdad through the northern parts of Iraq and Syria over to the Mediterranean coast near modern-day Lebanon and Israel, and then down to the Persian Gulf. It was huge. His capital, Akkad, was likely near where Baghdad stands today, though its exact location has been lost to time. Sargon didn't start as royalty. He worked his way up from very humble beginnings. He was born to a lowly family and raised by a gardener. But through his position as a cupbearer, a trusted role at the time, he rose through the ranks. Eventually, he seized power by overthrowing a Sumerian king named Lugal-Zagassi. And then he built his empire from there. But what made Sargon different wasn't just his military strength. He understood that to hold an empire together, you need more than force. He controlled trade routes. He ensured wealth flowed directly into his cities. He appointed his trusted men to govern faraway territories. It was a move that allowed him to keep a very tight grip on his growing lands. Now, Sargon's success might seem like just another ancient conquest that we hear about. But think about how his centralization of power is echoed today. If you've ever wondered why modern nations have centralized governments with governors or officials overseeing different regions, a lot of that all started with Sargon of Akkad. His vision laid the groundwork, the foundation for the way that we still manage countries and states in the United States and all over the world today. And then take a look at his beloved daughter, Enheduanna. While Sargon was uniting his lands, Enheduanna was doing something equally revolutionary. She was writing. And not just any writing, but she was writing poetry. She was writing hymns. And those hymns have survived for over 4,000 years. She was the high priestess of the moon god Nana in the city of Ur. In her role, she held immense religious and political power, not just in southern Iraq that we know today, around Ur, but throughout the entire empire. What sets her apart is that she's the first known author in history. Her hymns, especially those dedicated to the goddess Inanna, were not just religious texts, but they were deeply personal reflections on power, struggle, and identity. Her most famous work, The Exhalation of Inanna, is more than a religious praise song. It tells the story of her exile during a political upheaval when she was forced out of her temple. In it, she calls upon Inanna to help restore her position. She began blending her personal experiences with the divine. Her writings give us a rare glimpse into the emotional and political complexities of life in ancient Mesopotamia. And what's striking is exactly how Enheduanna's role in shaping religious practices parallels our modern storytelling traditions today. Just as she blended the personal with the divine, we do the same. Whether in literature, music, or even in social media, where people share personal stories with broad audiences. This whole idea that a single person's voice can have a lasting impact on culture and religion, it all started with Enheduanna, the high priestess. The empire's religious practices supported the political aims of Sargon and Enheduanna. It wasn't just about family. The entire relationship was strategic. The idea that a single person's voice can have a lasting impact on culture is something that transcended both of their beliefs. Sargon knew that controlling the religion was just as important as controlling the land. And by placing Enheduanna as that high priestess, he ensured that the empire's religious practices stayed aligned to all the political direction and focus that he wanted. But Enheduanna took it even further. She used her position to unify Sumerian and Akkadian traditions, blending two cultures of the empire in a way that made Sargon's rule even stronger and more enduring. The bond between the two of them, it was crucial to the empire's stability. Sargon's military and administrative genius may have built an empire, but it was Enheduanna's religious and cultural work that helped keep it together. The synergy between their roles, his as the conqueror and ruler, and hers as the high priestess and author, it created a balance that shaped the future of governance, religion, and literature throughout the world. These are Interesting Things with JC.